Hello and welcome. You're tuned to The Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview show, Trackside's flagship hour of television, and it's a good morning to Paul Moate and Stephen Hunt in studio. Morning, Paulie. I'm back, mate. You'll be pleased to see me.
Yeah, welcome back, Thad.
Yeah.
I'm sure the residents of Plympton will be very happy to see you here as well. Hopefully the council tidied everything up and everything's back to normal again. You bit of a sick boy last Friday.
Yeah, I couldn't make it in. A slight gastro bug. One of the joys of parenting, another joy of parenting I was unaware of is the constant sickness. Stephen will be able to testify to that. Little gastro bug had me going, but back, fighting fit, couple of kg lighter, so rearing to go. What happened last weekend?
Well, that might come in handy because they may need you at Whanganui or to Rapa. If you're down to your riding weight, because there's a few not going around this weekend.
Yeah, a little bit light on jockeys, aren't we? That was probably a discussion point for during the show. Morning, Steve. How are you?
Morning, Thaddeus. Very well.
Big weekend last weekend, Counties Cup Day and Bowl. There was some good performances.
Yeah, with the one Bowl Cat, I thought he was very impressive. Took the next step up after winning the Fielding Gold Cup, just crunching the numbers. The overall time was strong on the clock. To the 600 again, they've gone out very hard, 6.8 lengths above standard, 17 lengths faster than the rating 75 earlier on the day over the 2-1 journey. They've come home last 634.31, that's less than a length below standard. And the overall speed rating, as I mentioned, no knock there, 0.6 lengths above the class. So weighing up, where does he fit in terms of as a Beale Classic conversation? Well, he probably only needs to replicate what he produced, even though he'll step up in weight at the weight for age conditions. And just knowing the opposition, it's fairly thin when it comes to our weight for age horses at the moment, with a few horses that have aiming for 1,600 metre races in January, doesn't quite fit in the 2,000 metres over Christmas, New Year at Pukekohe. So, look, the only negative I could find around the Bowl Cat or one Bowl Cat was the potential of our weight for age 2,000 metre races, and BP will allude to this as well, that quite often in the last half a dozen to dozen years, that they become very much a tactical affair, crawl to the 600 and sprint home. Now, one Bowl Cat, his last two victories, albeit handicap conditions, the Counties Cup last Saturday and also the Fielding Gold Cup, were off very strong tempos, and he finished over the top of them. So that's maybe a problematic scenario around it, but we'll just see what unfolds in terms of race shape and pace in the race when we get the final field in about 3 or 4 weeks' time.
Okay, speaking of BP, let's head north to Hamilton Studio and say a very good morning to one Brendan Popplewell. Morning, BP.
Morning, team. Yes, welcome in. And it was a good weekend of racing, actually. I really enjoyed being at Pukekohe Park last weekend, 4 black type races. And just that sign of that Christmas racing, it is a race meeting that, for me, identifies those horses moving towards that Christmas period. And of course, we have both of those key dates at Pukekohe Park, Boxing Day and New Year's Day, and all those key races leading up to it. So I felt as though it was that day to really single out some runners, some horses we want to watch. And I guess Velocious has put her hand up as well in terms of the leading 2-year-old chance towards the Karaka Million. Yes, we're still some time out before that race, but she certainly showed her hand that she is now the outright $3 favourite for the Karaka Million, but still a lot of water to travel under that bridge.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's an exciting time of year all round. Righty-go, guys. I want to get to a little package we call How Bizarre. Some of the things you might have missed over the last wee while.
People are strange when you're a stranger.
So we get another further update. Hello. Who do you want? Okay, no, sorry, you got the wrong number. Sorry. Something about money. I always get nervous when people ring me and start talking about money, guys. So, anyway, I've got the wrong number. It happens. Vino Valentino is throwing me that. Masahashi Sumi, the rider, and if they ring again, I'll send the person down to you guys. You've got all the money.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, at least it wasn't during a race, George. It's one blessing.
Yeah. I'm sure people would like to ring me halfway through a race too to correct all the mistakes. As my favourite commentator says, let's bring it on. 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 They're off.
Oh, I wonder who that guy is.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking fella, I understand. Let's get back to you, Bevan Sweeney. Back to you, Bev.
Yeah, George getting a bit of a straight phone call there in the box at Pukekohe last week. BP, we'll come back to you. Maidener of the week time, what have you found for us?
Boy, there was 9 maiden races out of one venue, so surely we had to find one there out of Te Araha, and that's where we've gone. Huge day of racing there on Wednesday. I'm going with a horse by the name of The Weapon. Now, this is a runner that was able to win race number 4 on the program, did deliver the fastest maiden over the 1400 metres at the venue, and is a horse that I know Paulie Mawati was pretty keen on trying to see it win first up to the races, and of course it finished into 3rd position on a heavy 8 surface. But it was a run where, well, you look back on it now, it was pretty damn good because it was beaten behind Zab Manzoor, who's then blown them off the racetrack, of course, yesterday when winning the Wellington Stakes. We didn't know that before this race, though, because this race here, when winning, was on Wednesday. Zab Manzoor came out and won on Thursday in Stakes Company, but the win's very good. And I think the race is very good. My Lord, you want to be on Little Genie next time to the races. That has flown home. And I think the 3rd horse in Double Vision is a horse we can keep tabs on, as well as that's gradually going to be getting better. So win is good, race is good. It's a race we want to follow.
Crunching the number. Oh, you liked The Weapon, didn't you? You're
I
a
did.
big Weapon man.
Just a little aside to that race as well. As BP mentioned, you probably want to be on Little Genie next time. And she was a nomination for Hard Time this week, but because BP had already identified that race as his maiden of the week, we've found a different Hard Time for this week. But Little Genie was certainly right up there.
Okay, very good. Now I think it's time for Steve's crunching the numbers. Steve, what have you got?
Count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need.
We'll get this right eventually, Steve. Crunching the numbers.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Counties Bowl, the mouth-watering clash between Sacred Satona and Babylon Berlin. Just crunch a few numbers around that race and heading towards the railway. So we're going to bring up graphically the race shape. You see there the Counties Bowl. Look, the race was very strong on the clock. You see there too the 600, 29.97. They've come home very quick in 32.36. 1 second faster than the next best on the day, which happened to be the 2-year-olds in the Challenge Stakes, which was running at 33.37. The overall speed rating was very strong, plus 3.9 lengths versus Group 3 standard. But when you're assessing their performance ratings and you normalise it to weight for age, I have Sacred Satona running 97 last Saturday. That's the best he's gone, fractionally above a 96.8 past best. He got 8 kgs off Babylon Berlin at weight for age, so on that score I gave her a running of 101.4. which is her second best thus far in her career. Look, it's better than the 101 she performed last start, but under the weight for age conditions, her PB sits at 103, which she performed in winning the King's Plate back in March. So with the conditions of the railway being set weights and penalties, look, I got Babylon Berlin as the favoured runner in terms of what she started in an SP last weekend and the weight relief she'll get on Sacred Satona. But the fact is, Sacred Satona, where is that ceiling? He continues to lift in terms of an upward trajectory. So, yeah, again, it's going to be a ripping clash come the 1st of Jan.
So you give Sacred Satona a decent chance in a row, because the weight swing, everyone was talking about it after the win, the weight swing in the row. If he wasn't going to beat her today, it wasn't going to happen. It happened. But then it's a big weight swing and everyone's thinking, oh, she's going to turn the tables, but you still give Sacred Satona a decent chance.
Absolutely, I think he can improve. Babylon Berlin, she's probably found her mark somewhere between 97, 98 and 101, around that margin, where I think Sacred Satona's got a little bit of room. He'll be improved by the 1200, not that I don't want to knock Babylon Berlin going over 1200 metres, but I think there's a few variables that are going to play leading into the week, and one of them is going to be the draw.
Yeah, okay, intriguing stuff, and it's that time of year where all these races will be coming at us thick and fast. Okay, we're going to head to Whanganui for the Whanganui Cup, Steve. But before we do that, track conditions and weather, what are we playing on? What should we expect to see there tomorrow?
The weather's looking okay at present. See there, back in the true position now, obviously we raced at Whanganui last Saturday. The rail was out 4 or 5 metres, different parts of the track. The back end of the card, or the second half of the card, you saw a lot of the winners coming to the middle outer part of the track, in particular in the home straight. So, look, the rail goes back in the true. There'll be some fresh strip of grass there, maybe 4 to 5 metres outwards from the rail. So, look, up and in, it could play that way earlier in the day, and we'll just see what unfolds later in the day. But currently a soft 6 and hoping for an upgrade on race day.
Yeah, okay, race number 8 on the card, the Steel Form Roofing Group Whanganui Cup over the 2040, Steve. Run us through this market, can you?
Mary Louise heads the market at 3:30, Thaddeus, headed by Semper Magico. 550 into 480, so there's a firmer around the second fave. Pinion at 550. Mazzolino steps up in trip for the very first time at $7. Testify Me E1, likely at Te Rapa, but at a $7 price, has gone out to $8. Soldier Boy, double figures around 13 with Kelly Coe. King of Hearts at $13, another emergency there. Defibrillate with a big weight, 13 out to 14. A couple they have spec at longer odds. Thaddeus, number 10, Kingfisher Lad at $21. And also Lily Laguna at 26. So look, overall summary, they're pretty keen at the pointy end, but at this stage, best back run in terms of dollars invested, and the firm sits with number 3 in Semper Magico.
Okay, interesting. Great addition of the Whanganui Cup BP, I thought. And can Robbie Patterson pull another cup off with 2 in 2 weeks with Mary Louise, who won at Trentham last start? Looks like she's right on track.
Look, it does, and we know that this horse is a talented stayer going forward, and wow, how great would that be for the bold one to get back-to-back Cups victories with the Counties Cup and into this race here, the Whanganui Cup, and very much off the back of what we've seen here. The horse is ready to go to 2,040 metres. It really was one of those horses identified as a prospect going forward that can be a very good staying performer. Now, we've seen this one here over the 1,600 metres, look, beating Town Crier. We know that form is very good, with Town Crier, of course, beating Prowess first time up when, look, the horse was vulnerable, yes, but still beat Prowess, and it's a photo that will look pretty good on the wall, to be honest with you, with what Town Crier did when winning the Taranaki Breeders. So he was able to rein that horse in. Yes, a couple of other competitors out of that race that will be at a different stage for tomorrow's race, I do believe, and a horse like Colorado Star, for instance, would be better for 2 runs and now goes up in distance. But look, she's a horse that's won 6 from 11 from the right stable. Matt Cameron makes his way there to keeps those colours on from last weekend with 1 bold cat and 4 the same trainer and same ownership group. So look, there's a lot of ticks in the right boxes, isn't there, for Mary Louise. I'm interested, guys, in that move around Semper Magico, just purely because he is in outstanding form. I remember this horse winning, what was it, a Tuesday race meeting out of Rotorua, when winning in like a jumping highweight type of race, and it's just continued to propel from there. I mean, this has been an exceptional season. When was it? It won on the 22nd of August with Portia Matthews aboard, was when it won its first race of 2023. And boy, it's just kept going on that upward plane, guys. You have to say that this horse is right in the zone to be winning this race, and the money will talk there as well, team.
Yeah, 100% it's right in the zone. I mean, we could have picked any one of his last 7 or 8 races to replay. We chose that last start win at Whanganui that was very impressive on the track. You got the job done. 53.5 kgs, Paul. Looks well placed, and would be no surprise to see this horse winning again.
No, it looks like Mark Olligan has got him firing on all cylinders at the moment. Look, he finds a field with a little more class here than he did when he won the Bulls Country Cup. But he did do that with a certain amount of ease, so it would suggest that he can make that step up to this field. Look, he was rather keen at stages during that race, so I think that will have settled him in preparation for this. And of course, he was second to 1 bold cat in the Fielding Gold Cup. And of course, we've just seen, well, Steve mentioned 1 bold cat went on to win the Counties Cup, so that form has been franked very nicely.
Probably New Zealand's most improved galloper, Semper Magico, maybe, Steve? Can we put
It'd be in the
moniker on it?
conversation, Thaddeus. I will say, going back 7 days ago, the race shape definitely suited Semper Magico. They've crawled to the 600. They've come home 35 and change on an off track, and he was in that trailing position. Jess Allen rode him a treat. Interesting with Jess Allen, they've decided to go with Jess Allen. You talked about at the top of the show that jockeys are very thin this weekend, but they've given her the opportunity on Saturday. This will be her first black type race, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she's not able to claim, but the stable have given confidence in Jess Allen to get the job done. She's 3 from 3 on this horse, so hard to knock her when it comes to Semper Magico and the Jess Allen combo. And when you look at the weight scale, he carried 57 last Saturday. He drops to 53.5 with the presence of Defibrillate. He's well off in the weight Semper Magico. He just needs to replicate what he did. He maps similar. He's clearly the horse to beat in my eye, and I'm not surprised with the 550 and a 4.8 shift.
She's riding very, very well.
Yeah, and he's an easy horse to ride, and I say not a knock on Jess at any. She is riding very well, but he sort of just gets up, gets out of the gate, gets up on the speed, and she just lets him roll along, and he just makes every post a winner. But yeah, she's riding well.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure she's got home a number of, well, 1 or 2 roughies over the last month or so. So, yeah.
Sounds like you might have been on one. That's where there's no way you'd know that otherwise. Which one in particular?
Anyway, Semper Magico.
Yeah, very good.
Very, very good. Money's on 550 into 480 currently.
Great analysis, thank you, Paul. What about Pinion, boys? We're going to have a look at Pinion, who's building nicely to this, I think, for the James Wellwood team. Obviously, they got the big win yesterday with Zab Manzoor, who's now favourite for a Living Classic, but you know they've always had the opinion of Pinion, Steve.
Yeah, this was a good performance. The form stacked up. Obviously, the winner, Nest Egg, has come out and won a Metro and been very competitive in New Zealand Cup over 2 miles over Cup week at Riccarton. So the form has been franked. It was very much a sprint home. He was a bit layward on the outside there, shifted outwards in the last furlong with 2. Pinion ran into second. He carried 3 kgs more than the eventual winner that day in Nest Egg. So no real knock on his performance there, and like you say, there's a bit of sense of timing from a stable that's on fire. So BP, where'd you have Pinion in the mix in terms of the map? The ideal position for him is just off that speed. There's a bit of speed coming across from wideish gates. Do you have him in your top 3 or 4, Pinion?
Absolutely, because of that video, to be honest with you, Stephen. That is a great form race, that, because you've got Metropolitan form, you've got New Zealand Cup form around that race. So, of course, the winner, Nest Egg, great over the New Zealand Cup Week Carnival, was the winner of that race. You had Wasaki, who was just in behind them. The actual winner of the New Zealand Cup, Marajan, was running 4th in that race. So it's all there. And this is a horse who performed recently as well, of course, in Egmont Cup placing, but you go back to last season, placed in the Hawke's Bay Cup. Just a really good Cups performer that's coming to it. And you would almost have that feeling that he is one of those horses at a light weight that can get into a good race coming up, and it may be, look, it could be a race like the Wellington Cup that they're setting him for, those type of races, but he's just one of those horses bubbling away at the right weight that can pick something up, and it could be tomorrow at 53 kilos. So yeah, I've got him in the mix. I can't get away from Semper Magico myself. It's won 5 races this season and has been superb with the way that it's been put into the race. It can handle all types of track conditions as well. Doesn't matter if it bucket down with rain, it'll handle it. If it's still in that soft 5, soft 6, not a problem. Obviously, if it starts getting into that good bracket is where it hasn't won a race on a good track. But look, judging on what we've seen in conditions-wise, it's going to be nice, you'd say, in terms of just getting that jar out of the track condition. So yeah, he'll idle up, he'll sit close, and Jess knows the horse. I'm pretty comfortable with Jess riding this horse, I think, in a stakes race, purely because she does know the horse very well. So I'm marking him on top. I think Mary Louise is a big danger with what we've seen from the horse, and that video there with Pinion as well is the other one that I was sort of centering my bets around, team.
Paulie, your final thoughts here? Who have you got on top? And if we someone we haven't mentioned that we need to mention here in the Whanganui Cup?
I really like Pinion, as BP mentioned. That was a wonderful form race that was over 1.5 miles at Te Rapa. In fact, the New Zealand Cup trifecta came out of that race with Marajan, Nest Egg and Waisaki all coming out of that race. So Pinion was in amongst very, very good company there, and I think he can continue on with it. So I'm very, very keen on Pinion. I don't mind the look of Mazzolino. I think she's sort of been there or thereabouts. It's been hard to catch her. This could be the one where she sort of jumps up and goes, well, I jump off, she jumps up and wins. Yeah. That's what I'm concerned about, because she had that. Look,
what do we do with Mazzolino?
She had excuses last time at Pookie, I thought.
Look, I always tend to wait for horses that step up over ground for the very first time. Predominantly, I'll just keep my coins in my pocket, and I'll just see her go around over 2,000 a staying trip for the very first time, Mazzolino, and assess her after that. But look at a $7 price. I think she doesn't get any shorter than that price. On class, she's right up with the best with a turn of foot, etc. But yeah, for me, I just want to see her first time over ground, Mazzolino.
She had a pretty good 3-year-old season. She was unlucky in the Levin Classic. She was in behind. Did she beat Penny Wecker? I think she did. Penny Wecker in the Desert Gold.
Yeah, that's why I've sort of expected her to do something. Just a fraction
she hasn't
more
quite stepped on from there.
Wouldn't be surprised to see her come out and win this though.
It would not be a surprise at all.
Okay.
There's one horse I do want to mention. Now, obviously, Semper Magico I've got on top, but Kingfisher Lad, the Enigma and the Mat, drawn barrier 1. And from that fact alone, I think they'll try to use it and show some intent. You go over its career to date, quite often it likes to put itself in the race, Kingfisher Lad. You go back 2 starts ago, it beat Pinion on merit on an almost identical weight scale. So, yeah, Pinion's in that third line at $5.50 and Kingfisher Lad's hanging out there at $21. I've got him a lot shorter than the $21 price. I wouldn't be surprised if he firmed on race day, Kingfisher Lad, purely because where he maps, and I think he can use barrier 1 and run above betting expectation.
Okay. BP, final thoughts here in the Whanganui Cup. Semper Magico?
Yes, there was the next source I was going to mention actually was about Kingfisher Lad, because he is a danger from where he's drawn and how that map could play out. So, and nothing wrong with Semper Magico sitting outside that horse as well, if need be. So, yeah, he can play a part, and it could be something for the back end of first fours, Kingfisher Lad, if you're looking to play that type of bet type. 2 other horses before we move on just around the race. I think Colorado Star's a horse that we know from last season is capable in these type of races. Went back-to-back in Stakes Company, won a Taranaki Cup into a Kaimai Stakes. They were 2 very good wins last season. First time up over ground this preparation, 3rd up this season. And Kalikoza, a horse who ran 2nd down at Riccarton last time to the races and did beat 2 race rivals in that race, in Bully Boy and Pep Talk, where they finished in behind, and Calico does come into the race at around that $11 or $12 price. So great race to play your trifectas and first fours in, but if you had to sort of nail me down to one selection, I'd be keen to have something on Semper Magico.
Hey, I got a lot of faith in you. I'll stick with you, kid, that's the bottom line.
BP, who's this week's recipient of the time-honoured Lance O'Sullivan Award?
Time-honoured, yes, it's very
Time-honoured.
time-honoured from August. So let's go to a man who's won the award, and in fact, he goes back-to-back, that being Michael McNabb. He had to share it last week. He doesn't have to share it this week. Michael just aided by a ride where he was on the right horse with the right weight scale, yes, but still delivered the perfect ride. Sat off them, produced at the right time to get over the top of Babylon Berlin. I just thought it was a beaut ride with Sacred Satono. So happy to say that Michael McNabb can get it on his lonesome this week for this week's Lance O'Sullivan Award with his ride aboard Sacred Satono.
Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free.
Who was doing hard time last week, Paul? Where's the unluckiest runner of the week, or unluckiest group of people or customers or bookies? Who was unlucky last week?
Well, special mention to Little Genie and those who jumped on. But we've gone to Pukekohe and we're going to have a look at Flamebird, who, look, fair dinkum missed the start and probably all chances of actually winning. But come round into the straight and...
You got a 12th as your unluckiest runner.
Yeah, we'll have a look here. Here we go. Just starting to get going. Oh, no. And again, look, I'm not going to say that Flamebird was a winning chance after the start, but I think we could have seen a top 4, top 3 finish.
Yeah.
Really started to get going with around, 200 left.
It looked like it's flying, actually.
It was absolutely flying and just, unfortunately, ran right up the Jaxie of one in front. So.
This might have turned into Paul's black book as well because if you're looking in the form line, you see a big 0, you might run your eye over it, but we're not going to do that now, are we?
I'd certainly keep an eye on it next start.
Doing hard time / Paul's black book, Flamebird. This week's unluckiest runner and doing hard time. Okay, guys, O'Leary Stakes time, Steve. It's race number 7 on the card, the O'Leary Fillies Stakes. This brings together a nice field, and I think we've just had a scratching. Yes, we have Orchestral. Just come out in the last sort of quarter of an hour or so. So we've lost Orchestral. Leaves Onera, a $4.20 favourite.
You drew a sticky gate from memory barrier 11 Orchestral. That might have been the reason. I'm sure that will be unfolded in the next 48 hours. But Onera is the favourite at $4.20, as you touched on, Thaddeus. Well played. Glamour Tycoon firmed 6 into 4.8. She's that second line with Egyptian Queen. All 3 have had a degree of support between now and opening time on Wednesday afternoon. Shoes at $5.50. Bella Corner at $10. Great Escape at $13. Get Funky at $15. My Lips Are Sealed at $16. Best of the Rest is stipulated at a $21 price. So, look, there's no strong lead at present, Thaddeus, but as I mentioned, the top 3 have all been played at different times, headed by Onera at 4.2.
Yeah,
Is this a good time to bring up no deductions, no surprises?
I was going to say $5, or are we talking about sort of 18, 17% deduction?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so we
That
won't
no
have a
longer
blind.
exists.
No deductions, no surprises. Bet early, you'll be pleased. BP. Customers a little bit confused here. There's money spread everywhere. It's a nice addition of the O'Leary Filly Stakes, but I believe a Lance O'Sullivan Award winner is going to be the first replay we have a look at here.
Yes, Onera is a horse that's a horse I'm guessing you are talking about. Is that? Yes, it is. And Matt Cameron, who's of course come back in great form, hasn't he, Matt? Because you mentioned him winning that race with Maria Farina. Well, then he racked up a couple of more stakes wins last weekend as well. This is a really nice horse, and on this occasion, Matt assessed it perfectly because it was a horse that drew wide, and instead of pushing forward, because there was a big hustle of runners wanting to go forward in that race, pulled back and just knew he was on the best horse and still was able to deliver a killer punch. Gee, the form line out of this race is not too bad as well. The second horse is Charmer. Now, of course, Charmer's come out, and I know there's a margin between Zab Manzoor, Daylight, then Charmer, but still ran second yesterday, should I say, in the Wellington Stakes, and that's the horse that runs second in that race there. Onera was very good in a Gold Trail Stakes as well, when finishing into third position in a hot field in the early part of the spring. So there's some really nice form lines marrying up around her.
He was impressive, Onera. Another one that was impressive, Paul, was Egyptian Queen, building nicely into this, and the win at Topor, very solid.
Yeah, it certainly was. Once again, Tiakau, it was a perfect ride too, I think. It's absolutely. Was that Opie on board that time? I can't remember.
Looked like Opie, doesn't it?
That was a huge win at Topor.
Michael McNabb, of course, that was. Yeah.
Wonderful ride.
Yeah.
Sensational. Yeah, and I can understand why. We've seen a bit of money already for Egyptian Queen. Loses nothing with Parks getting on board, now into $4.80. So, yes, in my numbers as well.
How did it rate, Steve, Egyptian Queen? It looked good on the eye.
Yeah, rated very well, 3.6 lengths above the class. In fact, it was the strongest 1,200 metre event on the day. There was 4 of them, which included a rating 60. So, look, when you normalise it against Onera and what Onera performed last start up at Tauranga, it was 2.5 lengths superior. So on that score, I've got Egyptian Queen as the horse to beat, Thaddeus. So I think they can be fairly intent from a reasonable gate and put the horse, as we saw on footage in the first 2 or 3 in running. So she's got plenty of upside, Egyptian Queen. I wouldn't be surprised if she started 1-1 in betting on Saturday afternoon.
Okay, that's ringing endorsement. Shoes is another one we want to have a look at as well, because this one at Topor was, presumed it was the same day, was it? 9th of November? Let me get this right. Yes, it was. Well, a similar situation here, Steve, with Shoes.
Yeah, they ran even time to the 600, in the last 600, 36.10. The overall speed rating, again, was well above par, as you can see there in the green, 2.6 lengths plus. But as I mentioned, when you compare it to Egyptian Queen on the same day in distance, it was 0.7 lengths inferior. The thing about Shoes, she's drawn the ideal gait for a racing style. You see there when she led all the way and controlling the tempo, she was too speedy. She's shown that in trials leading in prior to first up being a 3-year-old. So from barrier 1, there'll be no surprises out of the machine. She'll jump, she'll run, she'll try and run even tempo, get a lot of horses off the bit coming around the turn and try to hold on. I suppose stepping up in trip is a slight query, but look, she'll be thereabouts, and she deserves to be in the conversation in terms of the top 3 or 4 in the market, Shoes. But I just feel Egyptian Queen might just have one or so lengths on her at this stage of their career.
Okay, and what about Glamour Tycoon, BP? Fulfilled the promise. It'd been running well, Glamour Tycoon, but fulfilled the promise there at Ruakaka last time and can go on with it.
It did. Look, this horse was ready to win this day, got the right run and has blown them away. But I think the key video for this horse is the run 2 starts ago with Glamour Tycoon, and that's what I'm warming to, because it's the Soliloquy Stakes. It is the A-grade 3-year-old filly form that we've spoken about leading into the 1,000 guineas. Now, she's finished 2 lengths off them in that race in the Soliloquy Stakes. What's in front of her? Well, in front of her is Impenda Bell, who won the race, of course, was placed in the 1,000 guineas. Second in the race was Mary Shan, who finished into 5th position. Third in the race was Tulsi, was placed in the 1,000 guineas. And 4th, of course, in the Soliloquy Stakes was Molly Bloom, who won the 1,000 guineas. It's terrific form, and it is, at this stage, the best form reference we've got around our 3-year-old fillies. She's finished close up to them. I'm keen to have something on her.
Paulie, Glamour Tycoon?
100%. Completely agree with BP there.
Yep.
Look, that was a fantastic ride by Spratt up at Ruakaka, but yeah, the form you want to look at is out of that soliloquy, and as BP correctly stated, she was in amongst some very, very good fillies. So yeah, I'm all over Glamour Tycoon.
So that's the one you like to win it?
Yep.
Anything else you need to mention before we go on, or it's just a win bet on Glamour Tycoon here?
Oh, I see there was a wee bit of interest in the Lisa Ladder runner, Get Funky, at around $18 now, into $15 after the scratching of Orchestral. And of course, this is sort of that sweet spot for most Lisa Ladder runners, 3rd or 4th up into a campaign.
You've loved that stat, haven't you?
Look,
Steve giving you a good one there.
I don't mind Get Funky for a top 3 or 4.
Okay, so Glamour Tycoon. BP, final thoughts here in O'Leary Stakes. I know Steve with Egyptian Queen. Who have you gone with?
Yeah, look, I think Shoes is a dangerous horse in this race because we just know how fast she is, and with her drawn barrier number 1, I guess by the early stages of the day we will get some sort of line on the track. So if we're seeing horses up and in and a winning kicking off the front, well then Shoes, starts becoming a bet, doesn't she? Because you know where she's going to be, she'll jump, she'll rip along in front. So I am very wary of that horse with pattern throughout the day. But yeah, happy to go with Glamour Tycoon. I think the Onera form is still a good one because it was beaten, it was winning on a wet surface. It's showing good quality out of a Gold Trail Stakes. So top pick, Glamour Tycoon, wary of Onera and Shoes.
Overs God's time. Were they smiling over the last 7 days? We're going to look back to Saturday and check out the big movers. Note these horses down, as I always say. Can't Hunter, customers off to a flyer, 12 into 5. Oof. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad start, is it?
That's a great start to the day.
They were on flying at Pukekohe early on. Velocious is a now Karaka Million 2-year-old favourite. Well, they didn't miss it in the race on Saturday, 550 into 360. Dan Narkley and the team can do no wrong. Valare, Warren Kennedy, the Wizard of Was, 350 into 220, got the job done. Then a couple of misses, sadly. Our Alley Cat backed into $3, managed 6. The Novak's an interesting runner. Wouldn't run a bad race, and 26 into 11. That'd be one I'd be just marking down in my black book. Down to Whanganui, Lazy. Another one I'd be marking down, 26 into 850. Didn't run a bad race. Duncan Creek, 9s into 424th. Gee, Apache Ann was a bit unlucky, storming down the outside to be beaten by the stablemate at $16 odd. Apache Ann. I'll be backing Apache Ann wherever it goes next time. And race number 8, Whanganui Walk in the Park, 4th, $11 into $6. So not a bad week all in all for the Overs Gods. Okay, guys, time to move to Te Rapa, Steve. And weather and track for Te Rapa, we've got a couple of races we want to have a look at there.
Yeah, it looks pretty good at Te Rapa. BP will be able to tell us looking out the window, but currently a soft 5. The rail's in the true position. No windows in that little box of yours?
Box.
Partly cloudy, but look, they've had to add a little bit of irrigation in the last 24 hours, 8 mils, purely because there hasn't been any rain for the last 48 hours. So you'd say naturally with fine weather between now and the back end of Saturday, we're going to get an upgrade to at least a 4, the early stages of the meeting tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, the first race we want to look at is race number 7, the Eagle Technology Stakes. It is Group 3, over the mile, the 1,600 metres, Steve, and run us through this market.
Headed by Zalia, it is $4.20 price. That is the original price on Wednesday. In front of Al Vencedor at a $5 price. The big mover has been Testify Me, stepping up in grade, 8 into $5, Testify Me. Apostrophe at 6.5. A couple of the old boys here in Prise de Feu at 7 and Maleston at the same quote. Monza double figures at $12. Clever Rudd's a pace influencer in the race at 18. And Bad and Bouge, best of the rest, also at an $18 price. So look a little bit what we call smart money here in the Petone HQ around Testify Me, and that's the reason around the firm 8 into 5.
Thought the boys might have learnt their lesson after last start at Te Rapa around Testify Me. But look, a nice even race, BP. And look, El Vencedor, Zayla and Apostrophe at Pukekohe bring pretty strong form into this.
They do. Look, this is a tricky race, isn't it? And a move like we've seen for Testify Me actually doesn't surprise me. It's one of those middle market horses who was so impressive last time to the races that $8 was taken in a race where. Look, you've got your good horses in the race, the ones that have performed at an elite level, not quite at their form that we've seen them at. We know that Prise de Fer is a runner that won this race last year and then, of course, went on to win a Group 1. Is he a horse that can find that best form again this campaign? Marley Ston is another runner where, look, I was on him. I had something on him in the Copelands. I was pretty keen about his chances heading into that race, and he sat in a position where I thought he was given his chance, and he just didn't quite deliver. So I'm hoping to see the better of those two horses on the weekend. If they do turn up with their best past form, look, they're right in this race. So, yeah, let's have a look at El Vencedor, the runner that we're going to mark down and show you here, because it finished into second position. It does go up to the 1,600 metres. It has barrier number 1, where we know the horse can sit in or near speed, and that's the key for him here, with that chance of pushing out a bit further in distance to be able to get the softest run possible for him over the 1,600. So it's a good reference, isn't it, with what we see here out of Pukekohe Park on Melbourne Cup Day, because Zalia's a runner that has really just turned up this campaign. I mean, the first up run was enormous when missing the start, then backed it up when winning. And the key for her too is getting on that better ground. We were unknown about her on the better surface, but she's really sprouted wings this campaign. And the other key factor too is that she loves Te Rapa. 4 starts there for 3 wins and 1 minor placing. Look, overall, I don't have a real solid lead on any runner here. I just found this quite a difficult race.
Yeah, I think BP sums it up very well in terms of the horses up the top of the book that potentially not in the best form. And I think we have that replay now of Testify Me doing the business at its last start. And Paul, did you get top fluck this day?
No, I didn't. Thank you, Thad. But you're right. You look at the market, and there are 6 or 7 runners in between $4.20 and $7. So obviously, you boys not quite touch. Sure what you're doing. Testify Me though, boy, he's been racing through the grades, and the money is on. $8 into $5. I repeat, the money is on Testify Me, and have a look at him here. Absolutely flew home. He's versatile. His 3 career wins have come on tracks ranging from a good 3 to a heavy 10. So he can cop just about any sort of ground. And I can understand why the money's on. It's, I really do like the look of Testify Me. As I say, another step up. But by what we've seen so far, I suggest he can handle it.
There's just a few question marks on some of these other favoured runners, Steve, which means it's almost default moving to Testify Me who you know's in form.
No, I think that's the key. There's plenty of variables against the top 2, Prise de Fer and Maliston. I was surprised with the money around Maliston at Rickin, it has to be said. On form, on the track, it wasn't there, but it was well played. It was one of our biggest liabilities when it came to the final field in the Copelands Mile. Look, you can go back 12, 18 months ago, he'd be the horse to beat with Prise de Fer, even with the weight scale being an open, or set weights and penalties. But I don't know where to put the first 2. So look, I am with Testify Me. I'll follow the coin. I think he maps ideal here, Thaddeus. I think there's solid tempo. I don't think they'll go as hard as what they did at Pukekohe when El Vencedor was sitting outside lead. I thought El Vencedor did really well and was a brave second. Had the audacity just to kick in the straight when they went 9 lengths above standard to the 600. So it did really set up for horses, Habana, etc., to come off speed and finish over the top of them late. Because the question mark around El Vencedor, and this is another query around a certain runner against Testify Me, is getting that 1,600 metres in what looks to be, I think, an even tempo race to the 600, because you've got El Vencedor that will all go forward. You've got Monza, who could lead if they want to keep pushing forward, but I think El Vencedor has the probability of leading purely because it has the inside gate v Monza. And then you've got Clever Ruds, who's drawn a sticky gate, will look to go forward. Does that horse even challenge the lead at some stage in mid-racing? So I just go back to Testify Me. I think Ashvin can sit this horse just forward to midfield, 1 off. And because of that even tempo, which I've spoken about up front, can have the last crack at them in the last 200 to 300 metres.
What do we do with Prix de Fer? Is he the campionessa of this race, Prix de Fer, Paulie? You know, they've given a little freshen up, just like they did with Campionessa. We know his class.
How many times have we seen this from Tiako?
Well, they did it last Saturday, didn't they?
A proven campaigner who was 2 or 3 runs in and then just goes bang. I'm saying no this time. I'm not getting on Prix de Fer this time.
No, it's hard to, isn't it? But
it
but
is.
a win wouldn't surprise. Probably like Campionessa, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's slightly different than Campionessa. Campionessa is a year or 2 younger, and she was up against her own age. And to be fair, mares at this time of the year can take 1 or 2 starts to get back to where they were possibly in the autumn. So, look, I had faith Campionessa would come back at some stage to what form she showed around Christmas and that autumn period. So, Prix de Fer, I do have a trepidation around this horse hitting. Look, he's not going to hit back to the dizzy heights he showed 2-3 seasons ago at weight for age Group 1 elite level. But, look, I think he's still got a win in him, but for me, he won't get his money on, or my money on Saturday.
Okay, Paulie, who have you got in your numbers here in the Eagle Technology Stakes?
Oh, you know I love a money train.
You do love.
So, yes, I do. I like the look of Testify Me.
Gee, everyone does. It's going to be a clean sweep in it, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll tell you what, he'll be part of the Overs Gods next show next Friday.
He will be.
And it just remains to be seen whether he finishes first or not. So, yeah, Testify Me on top. Look, I did like the look of Zyla as well. Remember, beat Puntura, a start or 2 ago, who Robbie then got up to win the Copelands.
Yep.
Not to say that she can't operate on a good track. She's proven that this time in. But if she can strike a wet track going forward, if we get like a wet New Year's Day and it's a Rich Hill Mile, she'll be very, very hard to beat in a top class open 1600 metre race. But
Who are we talking about, sorry?
Zalia.
Oh, yeah.
Her ratings are through the roof when she finds that dig in the track. If it's a soft 7 and forward, which we hope not, comes about in the summer, but if she does fluke one in the next 4 to 6 weeks, that could be her race. Not to knock her chances on Saturday, but she does regress when we hit that good track.
BP, final thoughts here in the Eagle Technology Stakes?
Yeah, look, I'm a little bit like you guys. I'm liking Testify Me off the back of the performance, and it's just that up-and-comer in the race. I think Apostrophe's a runner that we need to respect as well. It's a video we showed you of that El Vencedor race, and the horse just got no luck and is more than capable. Has the right jockey aboard, out of the right barn. So there's a couple of things I like about Apostrophe running a race here on the weekend. As for Prix de Fer, look, I don't want to completely drop him. We haven't had a great relationship. It's been rocky at times, but I'm happy to definitely keep him safe for the quaddie, because I would hate to see him come out and win and not have him on a quaddie ticket. So I'm keeping him safe. And do we sort of need him to show his best form again? Because you spoke, Stephen, about that weight for age bracket. I mean, he's one of those horses that we've seen in our weight for age races, you know, for the last couple of seasons. He won a Group 1 last season off the back of winning this race. So why can't he show his best form? And look, maybe he goes to Trentham, I'm not sure. But he did go to the Zabeel Classic and finish second behind Defibrate last year. So he just might be one of those horses. If he can rediscover his form, maybe he's one of those older horses that can be amongst our weight for age races again coming up over the next little while. So yeah, I don't want to drop him. And how cool would it be for Billy Jacobson? We haven't seen him salute yet, but maybe in the Tangerine at the Group 3 level for the Eagle Technology Stakes for this horse to go back to back. So yes, Testify Me, Apostrophe, and just a little saver, something maybe in the quaddie or maybe a little win bet on Prix de Fer.
BP keeping the faith. Okay, guys, last race we want to have a look at is race number 9 on the card. It's the Trevor and Coralie Eagle Memorial, 1,500 metres for the 3-year-old. Steve, run us through this market.
Yeah, Grail Seeker, well back fave, 420 into 3.8, holds 3 times more money than the second fave, and about time. It holds that share at 550 quote with balance of power. Tajada at 650. Cinnamon at $7. Leroy Brown, impressive last start winner at $9 with just as sharp, and best of the rest is Fortunate Son. So overall summary, they're very, very keen on this impressive last start winner on this track a few weeks ago in Grail Seeker.
Yeah, well, it would be remiss of us if we didn't get to Brendan Popplewell to run us through the replay of Grail Seeker dominating them last start at Te Rapa BP. It was impressive.
Yeah, it was hot, wasn't it? It was hot stuff. It was Palmer getting in a trail, pulling out and just saying, let's go, girl, with Grail Seeker. And it was such a comfortable watch too, wasn't it? And what else do you like about this race is the fact that the second horse has come out and been a race winner as well. It did beat Wallen. I was on Wallen, the horse that did actually run second in this race. But hey, by the by, it's form lines that we need to be talking about. This is a very nice horse, and where is her ceiling? I've just got the feeling that this could be a 3-year-old filly that could really tear it up through Christmas and into our summer racing. She maps well, doesn't she? She looks like she's going to get in that right spot again. She's drawn low. She drops back a little bit in distance. Yes, she comes back to 1,500 metres, but boy, she tailed them up there. I like it. I like her a lot.
Was she assisted by the race shape?
No, I think at the end of the day, look, she didn't run time on the clock, but I'm willing to trust the eye with this horse as well. And you look about the form, the second horse was been a sub-winner, and also was the fourth horse in City Gold Ready, won on Wednesday as well on the program. So I think you've got to, look, time's not everything. Sectionals isn't everything. You've got to trust the eye, and the form has stacked up, and she put a margin on her rival, so I've got her on top, Grail Seeker.
Yeah, it was certainly impressive. As was about time, Paul, at, was it Pukekohe, winning second up there. American Pharaoh.
The Wizard of Woz.
Those colours.
There we go.
Yeah, why not about time?
Yeah, exactly. Look, she got away to a slow start, but boy, Warren really got her settled nicely. Look, the gaps open when they needed to, but he guided her through superbly, and she showed a nice little burst as soon as that clear air opened up for her. So, yeah, I do like the look of About Time, and Warren's sticks, so you follow the wizard.
You follow the wizard. About Time, Steve?
It was a good win. They've run home 34 and change, so it's a fairly slow time for that grade of race on that day for the last 600. So she was flying past or getting past some very slow horses at the back end of the race. So the win on the eye probably looked a touch better than what it actually was in numbers. Look, the fourth horse in that particular race, About Time's race, came out and won on Wednesday, choosing big. So that's a nice form reference in the last few days. The slight negative I have around About Time, and look, she's well bred, she's a half to young Werther, who's a Group 1 performer in Australia, but 12 to 1,500 metres, ideally 12 to 14. It's not a massive knock, but if you just weigh it up against Grail Seeker, who's proven at the 16, just dropping back a touch to 15. Fillies this time of the year, yeah, I'm pretty keen on horses that are proven at that 1,600 metre distance range, and that's why I keep gravitating towards the fave around About Time.
What about the pike run ahead? Dejita, BP, 2 starts. Last start was a very impressive win at Taupo, and bred to be good, and was good last time.
Look, she was aided by, a very good ride by Michael McNabb, used the barrier draw, got in front and said, see you later. And prior to this was a horse who bounced out of a very good maiden race. Of course, that was the Matawai maiden race. And that's form lines where we've seen Mary Shan and what was it, Balance of Power, who's a race rival. Zab Manzoor was also in that particular Matawai maiden race. So there's been a lot of form out of that race that has progressed, and Dejita was one of those horses as well. From barrier number 7, I just wonder with a sticky barrier draw that there might be some positivity from out there, because we've seen the horse, her willingness to be put into the race. She's drawn barriers 5 and 3 when both of those occasions where she's led them up. So from a barrier draw of 7, I wouldn't be surprised that they at least try and lob outside leader with her. I think she's a chance. I think she's a horse I'm liking moving forward, and I like what she did there in that particular race. So, yep, keep her safe.
And what about Balance of Power, Paul? The El Manzoors are going very well. Walker Burgesson, certainly no knock there, and got the job done quite well last start.
Yeah, a nice ride by Opie as well. Just settled
a
towards
nice ride
the back.
by Opie.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah.
But yeah, settled back and then came round the turn and just gobbled them up. And yeah, just won with a leg in the air there. So yeah, Balance of Power. It's in my numbers, but
yeah. Well, what are you? Give us your numbers, because we've got to push on towards the back end of the show. We need your numbers in the race. What have you got on top?
look, I've got About Time.
You're going About Time ahead of Grail Seeker.
Ahead of Grail Seeker. And I don't mind the look of Fortunate Son, who's around $12 at the moment. One first up. I know this is a little bit tougher and is drawn just a wee bit wider than you would have liked.
Well, covered some ground at Rotorua.
Exactly. And I think off the back of that, just might surprise a few here. So Fortunate Son for mine.
Okay. BP, you won't be getting away from the favourite?
No, hard to get away from it. 420 was a nice price. Punters have dived into it. So, yeah, happy to be around Grail Seeker in the final feature on the program coming up out of Te Rapa.
Trying to do better, can't get no worse. What I done wrong, I done right. It's my darkness in your sunshine.
Confessional times. Repent and repent your sins, gentlemen, from the last 7 days. What have we got wrong, BP?
Well, mine's a bad beat again, and this is a bad beat again in the NFL. Now, this is around...
Pattern happening here.
Yeah, don't worry. It's still been profitable, but there's been a couple of bad beats. So last Monday, I took the Baltimore Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Now, I'll just quickly explain to you rushing yards. So that's about when a player grabs a ball and takes a run. So I took him to get 40 or more rushing yards, Lamar Jackson, in amongst the same game multi. Everything else had come in, and he'd rushed for 41 yards. That's good. That means it's a win, surely, 40-plus rushing yards. There is 20 seconds left to go in the match, and Baltimore Ravens have the ball. He takes a kneel down. That means it's -1 yard. There's still some time left on the clock. They take another kneel down. That's another -1. He finishes the match on 39 rushing yards. I had him for 40 plus, which was already in, and the 2 kneel downs have brought me back to 39 rushing yards. No return.
Just when you think you've heard all the bad beats, that's another beauty. Paulie, your confession, please.
Yeah, poor old BP, personal foul, 10 yards, fair dinkum. I thought I'd confess my Spotify, the old Wrapped, you know. You guys might not know what Spotify is. It's a music streaming service. It's where all us young people get our music from.
Sure.
I'll have a guess at what BP's Spotify Wrapped is. I'm going to say 660 is definitely in there somewhere. I'm going to say Tay-Tay.
Tay-Tay.
Yeah.
And the Wiggles.
Taylor Swift and Simply Red for Steve. My one, though.
You're a turkey, eh?
My number one song for 2023, it's by Eye Candy. Not Eye Candy, but like iPod, iPhone, Eye Candy.
Yeah.
Is that a swear word?
Yeah, I wouldn't be saying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of Eye Candy's hits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Steve, bring it back on track.
There's some
Confess,
normality
please.
back into the show. Khan Hunter can't do anything wrong. This progressive stayer. It's been a couple occasions now that have underrated this type, and the punters have climbed on at double-figure quotes, and it started almost half the quote when they've jumped. Got the job done, a rating 75, 2-1 last Saturday at Pukekohe. So it's now had 2 75 victories back-to-back. I think it got around about 4 or 5 rating points. So it's going to find itself out of 75 grade next start. But, it's one that I've underrated and let the punters get on, and they've climbed into it and made a decent profit in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Good on
Khan
them.
Hunter.
Foreplay time for another week. Your chance to win a $100 bonus bet multi with our 4 good things of the weekend. We missed last week. Only one of us got it up last week. I won't mention who, even off his deathbed. BP, your foreplay bet for the week, please.
I'm going to go Marrakech in race number 4. We're waiting for Tiako to start unleashing their 2-year-olds. This might be the start of it. It's drawn barrier number 1 with blinkers on. We'll go top 3 just to play it safe for the foreplay at $1.30.
Paulie?
I'll stick with the Walker Burgesson training partnership. I'll go to Te Rapa race 5. I like the look of Petrucci here. Good fresh up win. Wasn't the worst last start either. Top 3 for me, $1.60.
Stephen?
You'll go to race 7, the set weights and penalties, the technology stakes over 1,600 metres. Testify Me, which we've spoken about in depth earlier in the show, top 3 at even money.
Yeah, okay, and I've gone to a gear in the deserves a win, this horse. It's been very close and well backed to its last couple of starts and only just been beaten. Last race, at Te Rapa. Top 3 Agera. Can't see it finishing out of the money, even with the 59 kilograms of the claim at $1.50. Go to the TAB Facebook page, interact with the leg up question. You could be in with a chance to win that $100 bonus bet multi, and it could return you 524 clams. Okay, boys, best bet time of the weekend. But before we have a look at what we're going for this weekend, let's have a little look at how we did last weekend.
I'm going to go for my best bet out of Pukekohe Park. I really do like the chances of Valare. This is a horse that's ridden by Warren Kennedy.
Valare, it's going to be a head dong at the line. Whoa! Gee, that's close. The favourite, 11 Valare. Valare's got there.
I'm going to head to Whanganui, race 5, and I like the look of Flower of Wanaka. Look, she's been very, very good this time in.
Just in front, Balado Boy lunged out wide, but Sumi will win. Sumi is won it first up to beat Balado Boy. Third over Durham Lad, fourth over Deerfield, followed by Love for All, Flower of Wanaka.
Yeah, I'll go to Pukekohe race 2, early proceedings, the rating 65, 1200, number 6, Take She.
Takashi with a kick on the inner, and then Mesa Verde, but she's too good. Dazzled in a dazzling performance. Second over Takashi.
BP, you got us home last week, the only one, and I see your stocks continue to rise, up to a double-figure profit, 11%. What have you got for us this week?
Yeah, no, it was a nail biter though, wasn't it? Fair dinkum. But picked up the paper in the morning and still found that Valare was there. Are the results in the paper actually? Anyway, I'm going to go Waitak at Te Rapa race number 6. This horse is flying. Trials have been very good and won last year's Trevor and Coralie Eagle Memorial at this venue. So happy to go with Waitak, who sits at around 250 in race number 6.
Okay, I did you a disservice. That was 11% last week. You're plus 14% now. Good luck to Waitak. Paul, your best bet of the weekend, please.
I'll go to Te Rapa. Let's start the day off. Race 1, number 2, Can He Rock, trained by Chris Wood, to be ridden by Joe Doyle. Look, I think the 2400 is just ideal for Can He Rock. Currently second favourite in that race at 360.
Okay, still plus 46%.
46, wasn't it?
You said 40. It was 48 till you. But you swing for the fences. That's your style, and it's served you well. Stephen, best bet, please.
Yeah, I'll go to the back end of the program at Te Rapa, 3-year-old feature over 1,500 metres, Grail Seeker. Nothing flash on the clock when winning last start, but I'm trusting the eye and the form. The second and the fourth horse have been sub-winners during the week on Wednesday. Map's ideal, forward of midfield. I think this is a very progressive staying filly in the making, Grail Seeker.
Yeah, okay. Just clean stolen it off BP too, which is I'm sure BP won't mind. Grail Seeker for Stephen. Right, bonus back obviously this weekend, Paul, as well, but we've got our bonus back runners for this weekend. Run us through the promos first. What have we got?
Yep, so it's the first 4 races from Whanganui, Te Rapa, Caulfield and Rosehill, back to second, third or fourth. Bonus bet up to $50. Check out all the T's and C's in the Punters Lounge at the TAB website or on the app.
Have we got our bonus back runners for the weekend?
We do.
Well,
are we starting with BP?
Let's start with BP.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll go Paul David. A former maiden of the week runner is Paul David. Hasn't won another race since then, but it's only had a couple of starts. I'll run with that, race number 2 out of Whanganui.
Paulie?
I'm going to Whanganui, race 1, Deadly Pony. Lisa Latta trained. Look, hasn't finished out of the top 3 last 3 starts, so I'm hoping we continue on with that sort of form. Deadly Pony.
Hopefully have a win. Steve?
Yeah, Te Rapa race 2, Pukana showed ability last preparation, finished second, will finish 4th a couple of times and behind some useful types. So has trialled recently, has won a trial. I think it's ready to go. It's got a sticky gate, but I think class will take it a long way in a maiden race over 1,300 metres.
Okay, on race 3, Whanganui Wolfgang. I think building towards something, paying a nice price, $9. I think that's worth a bit of a shy at the stumps, Wolfgang, in an even old race. Right, I got 20 seconds, boys, to wrap it all up. Thanks, BP, for your efforts as always. Where are you tomorrow?
Off to Te Rapa with Lee Thinner, so looking forward to that. And for the next 2 weeks coming up here on The Leg Up, this is available if you are the 4-play winner. We're going to a couple of these to give away. Big thanks to Aidan Rodley. It is the racing annual for 2023, the 50th edition. So it's a good read over the Christmas period. So a couple of those to give away over the next 2 weeks.
Great friend of the show. Thanks, BP, for your efforts. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good weekend.
Cheers, Dad.
TAB Classic next week. Barn has been well tried in the last 48 hours. Expect that horse to line up against Agon, etc.
Okay, plenty to look forward to in the next 7 days. We'll see you then on the leg up.
Love the music.